And I would really appreciate it if you would stop Rob Taylor from blathering on and on.
Opinions expressed by talk show hosts, callers, or guests on the Rob Taylor Report do not necessarily represent the opinions of the hosting platform, subsidiaries, sponsors, or possibly anyone else on the planet or the known universe. From the tinfoil and lead-lined broadcast bunker on the beautiful southern coast of Oregon, it's the Rob Taylor Report. So strap yourself in. Your weekly political therapy session is about to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the nearly famous Rob Taylor.
Hey, Coos County. Hello, Oregon. Hello, America and beyond, and to all of you who are joining me today. I hope you like the Christmas spirit. Yeah, I'm showing a little Christmas spirit. I'm here with little baby Jesus. Little baby Jesus. Yes, we've got little baby Jesus. Yes, I borrowed that from the family manger out under the Christmas tree in the other room. But yeah, we are definitely in the Christmas season. We are thrilled to celebrate another year of our Lord's birth. If you are a Christian, this is the pinnacle of your season. And as someone who believes in the words of Christ, what he talked about every individual having worth, having value, that there is value to your life, that there is purpose to your life. I believe that as well. And that's why I celebrate the Christmas season and Christmas as well. I haven't been to a Christmas Mass in many, many years. How many of you are going to be going to Christmas Mass? I'm just curious. You know, the last one I went to was probably in my 20s, and I think I went with no, I didn't go with my parents. Who did I go to? I went with some relative, and we headed off. No, I take that back. I had a few friends, and I went. They were Italian, and of course they were Catholic, and like us Irish, not you can be any religion to celebrate Christmas and Christmas Mass, but the Catholics, they have a hell of a way of doing it. And it's a beautiful ceremony, and it's been, generations since I've done this. So I wonder how many of you are going to be celebrating and going to the Christmas Mass. Like I said, I'm not a Christian, but I love the tradition. I love going and seeing that service. I don't normally attend any Mass or any services unless it's something such as the Christmas Mass. And so I hope many of you take advantage of that. And I hope you take advantage of the season. It is all about giving. It's all about being kind to your fellow man. And I don't know, what can I tell you? It's a cruel, cruel world out there. We live in a very cruel world. And, you know, just this past weekend, just what we've seen, and nobody is unfazed by it. You know, and I'll be talking more about that later on as we go along. But, you know, with the massacre of the people on the Bondi Beach, and I don't care who they were, why they were massacred. What I care is that people would think that it was okay to kill people just because they don't like them. We don't like them. We don't like them, and so we're going to kill them. And maybe I'm wrong about this, because if I remember correctly, Australia, you're not allowed to own guns. All guns. I think all guns are illegal in Australia, aren't they? I remember doing videos on that. They got rid of the handguns, and they said, don't worry, we won't go after your rifles and shotguns. And then eventually I think they came after the rifles and the shotguns. And now it's almost impossible to own a gun, any kind of gun, in Australia. So I don't know how this guy did it, but it goes to show that you can have all of the laws in place to keep people from getting guns, including up to the point of outlawing firearms, and yet people will get firearms. And here we have a mass shooting in the country. And you don't even have to go far. You don't have to go to Australia. You can just look across the border. Guns are illegal in Mexico. You're not supposed to own guns in Mexico, but yet Every 8-year-old has a gun in Mexico now. So these people who want to disarm us, they want to disarm the good citizens. Well, the criminals, they don't give a damn about your laws. They don't give a damn about you. And they're not going to abide by any of this nonsense. They are going to do what they want to do. So you have to allow people the ability to own guns. And maybe if someone was armed, a couple of someones who were armed on that beach this past weekend, maybe there wouldn't have been so many killed. I mean, you don't know, but at least if they had a gun, they would have had a fighting chance. And I like the guy. I don't know if you saw the guy who attacked the shooter and got the gun away from him. That was really cool. That was very cool to watch. That was very interesting. And then you had the scenario of, and this is sad, Rob Reiner and his wife were killed by their son. Apparently they were having family arguments. There was apparently an argument at, what did they say? Conan O'Brien had a Christmas party, and Ryan, what was his name? Rob Reiner was at the party and his wife was there. And his son and him got into an argument. Who knows? It doesn't really matter. You know, when you're in family arguments, that's the worst thing to get involved with, is having cops pulling up into a house and it being a domestic fight, no matter who it is, whether it's between a man and a wife, whether it's between the siblings, whether it's between the parents and the children. It doesn't matter. It's always so emotional. Those are the worst ones because you don't know what you're walking into. You don't know the past of what these people have been through. And so once again, we experience this, and we'll talk more a little bit about that. We'll talk about the president's response and all that good stuff because, you know, he's taking heat. I don't know why. The president is who the president is. He's just going to do what the president does. And yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later. Let's see. I got a comment here. Hello from Roseburg, Oregon. Hello, Ashley. It's always good to see you. It's always good to see you. For those of you, Jeff P says, if outlawing firearms saves lives, they should outlaw fentanyl and meth. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We'll talk about that in a minute as well. That's something else I want to talk about with the president and how if people think that, but then again, couldn't you say the same thing about abortions? You could outlaw abortions, but women are going to have abortions. I'm opposed to it. I'm for life. I vote on the side of life pretty much every time. But yeah, fentanyl and meth, you can make them as much of an outlawed substance as you want, and people are still going to use it. And guns are the same way. And you know why that is because the black market is truly the free market because there are no laws ruling over the black market. So it's, well, whatever happens, happens. And so the black market is very powerful because the market is very powerful because people are very powerful. The market and people are the same thing. The market is an extension of our existence. And you can go back to whenever man was first here, and every interaction with another person was based on some type of market trade. Every interaction. So the free market is just an extension of us. That's why when people rebel against capitalism, it's ridiculous because they try to say that capitalism is the ruler of the world, and it's not government. Government is the ruler of the world. Government is the problem. Government is our enemy, and we need smaller, lesser government, and we need more markets. We need more people participating in the market, but outlawing stuff, not going to do a damn bit of good because people are incredibly ingenious at smuggling things into this country or creating their own things in this country. So there are other ways to handle it, and I'll talk about that in a minute. I do want to talk about this event here. I'm really impressed with this lady here, Danielle Bethel, who I'll tell you what, if anyone gets out of the governorship so far, I hope it's Danielle Bethel, because I don't know who else we can depend on. And I don't know who else is in the race. I guess I haven't checked in a while, but let me see. I think I should go over to the Secretary of State's office and maybe we should do a look. Yeah, let's do that real quick. So Danielle Bethel is coming to town, and we're going to see who's running for governor, who's running for other positions here in just a second. I'll show you how to do that. But we're having a meet and greet for governor candidate Danielle Bethel, and this is happening Tuesday, December 16th, 4:30 to 5:30. And Chris Castleman arranged this. He's the one who pulled this all together. And if you notice, all of the things that are happening in this county, they're happening because the group of Republicans who are not even being allowed to be in the party are the ones who are the activists. And we are the ones who are having these type of events. I mean, our group just had a public meet and greet with the candidate who's running against Val Hoyle, Monique Despain. What a beautiful name, Monique Despain. Yeah. Sounds like a romance novel or an author of a romance novel. Yes, Lust on the Shore by Monique Despain. You know, it just sounds like something your mom would read back in the day. But yeah, that was a really good event, and this should be even a better event. Meet and greet with governor candidate Danielle Bethel. This is happening tomorrow. I will be there. This is happening at No B Tap House and Food Trucks. This is on 1710 Virginia Avenue. It's right almost kind of across from the mall. It's a little bit further down. But yeah, it's right there in Virginia, almost to the corner of Virginia and Newmark. It's pretty easy to spot. And she'll be there. I hope to be there. I hope all of you can join us. This is going to be really neat. I'll remind you at the end of the show again that this is happening. And this is happening tomorrow. And I also want to let you guys know that we will be gathering signatures, continue gathering signatures up till the 18th. And then we're done. They have a hard stop on the 20th. And even though they've turned in the signatures for the Stop the Gas tax, they're still telling us to keep collecting for anyone who wants to sign. And we're going to just turn them in. And on the 18th is the deadline. I believe the 18th is, what is that? This Thursday, which is perfect. Thursday is the last day. I'll be at the headquarters from 2 to 6. I'll be there today. Right now, Carol and her husband Elmer are there 2 to 6 on Mondays. I'm there at the headquarters. This is the headquarters, the Republican headquarters in Newmark Plaza. I will be there from Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 2 to 6 if you want to sign that petition. And more importantly, sign the other petitions. We'll talk about that a little bit later as well. But this is going to be a really, really good event. But quickly, I want to share. I want to do a share screen here. And Secretary of State. Let's share this page. Let me see if I got that up there. Boop. There we go. This is the Secretary of State's website. And as you can see, this is the home page. And you want to find out who's running, go to voting in elections. You see that? You see how I did that? Going to voting in voting in erections. Erections? What are you talking about, erections? Should we be talking about that in the Secretary of State's office? No. Voting in elections. Elections. Oh, elections, not erections. That's right. So voting and elections. You can check that out. Register to vote, check your info, or track your ballot with My Vote. Learn about voting in Oregon because, you know, if you're a dead Democrat, you can continue voting for many years after your death. It's an amazing thing here in Oregon. Campaign finance reform. Yeah, they did a lot of campaign finance reform. I'm basically going to close my personal PAC that I have. Well, actually, it's not a personal PAC. It's for the wind turbine coalition that we had going. We're going to be closing that because there's too many rules and new reform that's going on with the campaign finance that they just passed, and it just gets too cumbersome to deal with the Secretary of State's office. So we've got another PAC for the Friends of the Coos County Republicans that is working well, and I think the wind integrity, and we'll be talking about wind turbines a little bit later, but I want to find out who is running for office. Let's see who's running for office. Let's see if we can find a candidate filings and local measures. Let's go there. I'm all in. Let me make sure this is still sharing. Yes, this is still sharing. I'm right there. And search candidate filing. Well, let's search the candidate filing. And let's go. It's the 2026 election. Let's see. Why isn't this popping up? I hate when I get trouble. I hate when I have to deal with this. Okay, so let's do a new search and let's do the year. I think on Mondays they mess with the primary election. Okay, filing for office. So this is where we want to find out who's filed for governor. So you put in governor right there. Now, for all intents and purposes, this should work, but I don't have any faith whatsoever in government websites. But hey, look there, it worked. Let me make sure you guys can still see that. Yeah, we've got James Atkinson the fourth. That's James Atkinson the fourth, sir, for Democrats. David Beam is a Democrat. Danielle Bethel, that's the one I'm rooting for right now. Christine Drazen, the Republican. Kyle Doc. I can't even pronounce his name. I don't know who he is, so I don't have any hopes for him. Brittany Jones, Caleb Kintz. He's a Republican. Caleb Kintz. Never heard of him. Cal Kishawi, he's a Democrat. Patrick Hales. Patrick was on the show. Patrick's a good guy. Wonderful guy. I just don't think he'll win. And so I'm probably going to be pulling for Danielle. But we'll see. We'll see because we've got time. Robert Newman, don't know who he is. Brad Peters, no clue. Matthew, is that Platt? Yeah, or is it Pyatt? I'm not sure if that's an L or an I after the P. That's Matthew. Let me see if I can increase the size of this. There we go. Matthew Pyatt. Yeah, there we are. And then, of course, Paul Romero. And I don't even know why Paul's running. He has no chance in hell of winning. But he's an interesting character. I'll give you that. And we'll have him on the show. I always love talking with Paul. Tristan Shepard, D'Angelo Leroy Turner, who's running as Republican. Don't know. Martin Ward, Republican. Tim Yorker, Republican. Do you know any of these people? Why are they running? Why are they in the race? I just, I can understand why Patrick Hales, at least I've heard of him. I've heard of Bethel. I've heard of Drazen, but all these other people, who the hell are you? You know what I mean? It's at least you could, do something to let us know who you are. I haven't seen any ads for any of these people or anything. So it's pretty sad. So that's who's running for governor. Let me see. Samantha Frost has a comment. She says, even if you are a dead Republican, but all of a sudden when you die, you start voting for rhinos and Dems. Yeah, that's sad. Yes, that's a death in Oregon. It's slow, but it happens. So this right here shows us who's running for governor. And let's do a new search. Let's see. This is very important. 2026, the primary. Filing for office, state representative. I want to find out position. What is Boomer's in 5th district, isn't he? I believe he's the 5th district. Yeah, I think so. Let's find out. No. Boomer isn't in the 5th district. Boomer, right. Let's see what district he's in. And he is in, I'm looking it up, so don't freak out too much. But yeah, he's in District 9. I apologize, in District 9. So let's do a new search. Let's do, of course, 26. Let's do the primary election. Let's check out state representative and District 9 for all you Yankees. And we'll submit that. And Troy Cribbins and John Ezra Shearman. And I've got bad news for you, folks. If we don't get another good Republican candidate in there, Troy Cribbins is going to take this seat. There is no way John Ezra Sherman is going to win. And I think Troy will soundly defeat John because he is so radical. He's an extreme leftist. And so I think Troy would totally defeat him, but Troy is not the best candidate, I would think, for that job. Certainly not. And the sad part is that when you run out of people, you got to pick from the bottom of the barrel, and Troy's the bottom of the barrel. Here we are. I personally, I think with as many, we got a county of 63,000 people. The district itself probably has about 100,000 people in it. Shouldn't we be able to find enough candidates, enough good candidates? This is sad. This is very sad that this is happening, but that's what's going on. Troy Cribbins will be running for that position. So if you liked what he did for the hospital, he's going to do the same thing for Boomer Wright's position. How do you like that? How do you like them apples? And let's see, I got Angela Jacobson Cotton says, good afternoon, Rod. And it's Rob as in Robert, not as in Rodney. My fellow patriot brother from another mother. That's right. Rod Taylor, not to be confused with me, Rob Taylor, but that's okay because everyone seems to make that mistake. And it was funny. Somebody chewed me out the other day on Facebook, and it was one of the crazy local leftists. And she chewed me out thinking I was Rod Taylor. And it was the funniest damn thing because I let people do that. And then I just put in there and I go, wow, you really don't have a clue, do you? And so many people jumped in after that and saying, that's Rob Taylor, not Rod Taylor. Are you a moron? And it's just funny when people do that, but not you. It's an easy mistake. It's funny when they chew me out for being Rod Taylor and not Rob Taylor. Peggy says, well, it jumped up. Good to see so many interested and at least trying. No one here runs for Coos Bay mayor, DA, or sheriff. Yeah, it's kind of a sad. Boomer was a disappointing, to say the least. Yeah, Boomer was really disappointing. And Cribbins, I give him a thumbs down too, Peggy. And Angela says auto spell. Yeah, that auto spell. I don't know how many times I will put a word in using the word I want to use, and I know it's correct, and the spelling, they will change it to another word. Do you have that happen? They change the word to another word as you're spelling. It's like, no. And I have to go back and I have to correct it. It's like, it's bad enough I have to correct my own mistakes, but now I got to correct the autocorrect mistakes. Are you kidding me? And so I don't know. They got to work on that AI. That's a problem. But for us, Troy Cribbins, John Ezra, yeah, not a good thing. Hopefully we can find some better Republicans. But I'll tell you right now, if I have to choose between Troy Cribbins and John Shearman, I will hold my nose and choose Troy. I don't have to worry about it because he's not in my district. He's just in my county. Our county is split. My representatives are Court Boyce, and my senator is David Brock Smith. So he won't be my representative, but we will have him at a few of our meetings. We will invite him. If he wants to win, he's going to have to show up. So we'll see. Maybe he's not such a bad guy. We'll figure it out. Well, we'll see. After all the horrible things they said about his wife, boy, this is going to be a little awkward, I tell you. So let's go back to state representative. And let's see, district, what district is Court in? Is he in the first district? I think he is. I think Court's in the first district. Court Boyce. Yeah, so nobody's even running against Court. This is why we get stuck with such lousy Republicans. Nobody's challenging this guy in the primary. And nobody wants to because they know that the Good Old Boy Network will come out and they'll slander you. They'll drag your reputation through the mud. They'll call you a rhino, even though you're probably way more conservative than any chance Court Boyce would have of being conservative. And they will destroy your reputation. So that's why people don't run. They see the good old boy up there like Court Boyce and no one challenges him. And it's sad because guys like me, I would like a choice. Court Boyce is no choice at all. He's just another loser who has an R after his name. And it's sad that we're going to get stuck with him, and we're going to probably get stuck with Troy Cribbins. So I just want to show you, I guess I'm the ghost of Christmas future. This is your future, folks. You're going to be stuck with Court Boyce, and you're going to be stuck with Troy Cribbins as your representatives representing Coos County if somebody doesn't step up to the plate. I'm begging you people, please give us a choice. Please, somebody, some Republican out there, please step up to the plate. Stand up and say, I will do it. And I don't know. It's just very frustrating. Let's see. Ashley says Douglas County has several candidates challenging incumbent commissioners. Thank goodness. That's what we need. These people become too complacent, and they think that once they're in position that this is their career, that now their job is to continue to get reelected. That's what I always tell people. Politicians have two jobs. And I know people, to keep the roads clean. No, not to keep the roads cleaned and fixed. No, that's not the job of a politician. No, that's the promises they'll make you, but they'll make you that promise doing their first two jobs. And that's their only two jobs, is to get elected and get reelected. That's the job of the politician. They're working to get elected and then get reelected. That's what they do. And once we figure this out, maybe we'll start voting in better politicians. But until then, this is pretty much what we have. Let's see. You want to do a news search? Let's go ahead and do a news search. Let's see. Election. Go back to the primary, and let's see who's running. So I don't think Dick Anderson or David Brock Smith is running for senator, but for U.S. representative in District 5, isn't that what we're in, District 5? I can't remember now. Was it 4 or 5? Maybe it's, I guess we'll find out. Oh, Jonathan Lockwood and Ziva Rosenbaum. Now, I don't know why Monique Despain's name isn't showing up here. That's odd. I thought she was running for... Maybe that's, let's see, Jonathan Lockwood. Okay, let's go back and try another one. Maybe I was in the wrong district here. Primary, U.S. representative. I was in okay, this will help. Let's try District 4. Maybe that's what it was. District 4. Monique Despain, Melissa Bird, Melvin Smith. Okay. I thought Jonathan Lockwood was running against Val Hoyle. I was mistaken. But here we are in the 4th district, and you've got Monique Despain, Melvin Smith, and Melissa Bird running for the 4th district there. I don't know who Melissa Bird is, and I don't know who Melvin Smith is. So, but Monica is the only Republican running. And if we could find a better Republican, fine. I'm happy with Monica. Cannot complain. I can't complain about all their candidates. I can't complain about all of them. So even though I'll try, you know me, I'll give it one hell of a try. So let's get on with the news. I don't know if you heard about this story. This has been happening. Longtime Oregon lawmaker repeatedly broke ethics law to secure hefty raise, commission, and fines. And the only reason I'm doing this story is because we as a party have to keep our own in check. And I've been reading this story for a while. I've been following it. And this, of course, is about Greg Smith. This is Representative Greg Smith. And he's a Republican serving a 13th term. 13th term in the Oregon House, repeatedly broke state ethic laws to secure a hefty raise for his work as head of the small public agency in Eastern Oregon. A commission concluded Friday. And so this is the problem when government owns too much stuff, when government has its hands in too many industries. And this is another economic development scheme gone really bad. This is your money, literally just being wasted by this longtime Republican lawmaker. And longtime Republican lawmaker Greg Smith broke Oregon ethic laws when he used his office to try to secure a $109,000 raise for his work as executive director of an Eastern Oregon economic development agency that maneuvered to get a $66,000 pay hike and make it retroactive. The Oregon Ethics Commission concluded Friday. Now, I'm one of those who don't buy into government economic development because that's one of those boondoggle building entities. This is where they get these boondoggles from, these economic development agencies who have all these experts who aren't an expert in a damn thing except feather bedding their own pockets. And so this is what Greg Smith has done. And I thought Greg was a pretty stand-up guy, but not so much anymore. Not so much anymore. But it says in a unanimous vote, commissioners endorsed an investigator's finding that Smith, the longtime executive director of the federally funded Columbia Development Authority, repeatedly failed to declare a conflict of interest and used the power of his office for personal financial gain. How dare you, Greg Smith? How dare you? And you know, all the Democrats who do this, and they're all probably doing it, we just haven't caught them yet, but all the Democrats who do this, like Val Hoyle and Shamia Fagan, all of them, they should have been put in jail years ago. But if it happens to one of ours, I'm going to keep them accountable as well. Smith, Senator Smith, got his salary raised from $129,000 to $195,000. Wouldn't you like that? Wouldn't you like that? What a hell of an increase. But he did it without his boss's authorization and directed the employees in charge of his agency's finances that the pay hike be made retroactive to April of 2024. So not only did he get a pay increase, but he made it retro all the way back. And this is what the investigators found. And when the Development Authority Board learned of Smith's misrepresentations, it voted in September of that year to rescind the raise, records show, but he has not repaid Ethics Commission investigator Casey Fenstermacher wrote in her report dated Thursday. Now, by the way, just to give credit where credit's due, this is coming out of Oregon Live, and of course, they're a slanted yellow journal rag out of Oregon, out of Portland. But it is Oregon Live, and so I am using their stuff and their story here to tell you what's going on. And as far as I can tell, everything they've gotten in here so far is pretty accurate. From what I have found, this is. Now Smith now has the option to request a hearing on his case before an administrative law judge or to work with the ethics agency to reach a settlement, including any fine or other punishment. He did not take part in Friday's hearing, nor did he respond to a request for comment left with his legislative chief of staff on Friday afternoon. Staffers at the Oregon Government Ethics Commission will formally propose a settlement with Smith, including financial penalties, by early January. Commissioner Director Susan Myers told the Oregonian Oregon Live Friday the maximum fine her agency can propose is $10,000, she said, but the 9-member state ethics commission could vote to authorize a higher penalty. Now that's the rest of that story can be found on Oregon Live. And I recommend you go check it out and go read it. But I get so sick of these people just taking advantage of the system. They go and they sit there and they give us all kinds of garbage about how they're doing this for governor's service. And it's not for government, for public service. It's not for public service. It's for their own service. And it's disgusting that they try to portray themselves as such noble people when they get into office, and all they do is line their own pockets, line the pockets of their family and friends. And we see this time and time again. It's just disgusting. Oh, and by the way, Steve Nice. And hey, Steve, good to see you. Monique is running against Val Hoyle. Yeah, but I didn't see Val Hoyle's name on that. I showed you the screen, so I don't know if she's re-upped or not. So that's interesting. Yeah, I'll have to find out more about that. Interesting stuff. another news story that I have to share, and this is from the Oregon Catalyst. Good news source. Usually, I don't always agree with their opinions or the people who run the Oregon Catalyst, but this news story was pretty good. Oregon sits on trillions. White gold mine. Bird stands in way. Of course, the bird stands in the way. We got to protect something. We always got to protect them. We cannot let people have the things they need to survive because some animal somewhere might need it before us. Because that's America now. We put animals above your American children. You have children, the government doesn't care because animals are more important. But this is what we're looking at here. Oregon sits on $1 trillion of white gold mine, and bird stands in the way. And the federal government has just approved exploration of a vast lithium white gold area along the Oregon and Nevada border. This lithium deposit, by one estimate, could yield 1.5 trillion in value. That's a pretty good sum. Lithium is the critical mineral used in cell phones, computers, electrical vehicle batteries, and a lot of military equipment. This is why both the Trump and Biden administration have been ambitious about getting this project approved. So as you can see, even the crazy Biden administration knew the value of this. Of course, I'm sure under the Biden administration, they would have put Hunter Biden in control. He could have gone out there with his hookers and his crack pipe and done a bang up job out here finding that white gold for Biden. But it says, yet the area of the exploration and mining would take place in a key mating area for the sage grouse bird, which is delicious, by the way. They are just absolute. You just lightly roast them on a fire. It just doesn't take that long because they're little and they're very, very delicious. You got to get a little butter on them. It's hard because they're little birds, but you clean them pretty well. Get the feathers. Delicious sage grouse, very good stuff. This sets up for a showdown among environmentalists who have a record of shutting projects down in the Northwest. Exploration drilling would be involved in 168 sites across 7,200 acres of BLM land in both Oregon and Nevada. And this is the good thing, that it's on BLM land. Thank goodness for that, because the feds, which are in the hands of the Trump administration, hopefully will be able to take care of that situation. We just had Columbus Day. Do you guys remember this Columbus Day? And people were arguing over whether Columbus was a good guy or a bad guy, and with all his faults. And the guy in many ways was a real piece of crap, but he did bring Western civilization to the Americas, and he had a hell of a publicist. The Queen and King of Spain there, Ferdinand. Was it Ferdinand? I think it was King Ferdinand. And they of Spain, great publicist for Columbus. That's why he was the one who gets credit for discovering America. I think it was way discovered before then. And in fact, if you look at the screen in the Oregon News, and this is out of Oregon State University, so this isn't like a right wing organization here. This is OSU, Oregon News, and so. When people argue about the first Americans and they call Indians Native Americans, that's a misnomer. They're not Native Americans. There's no human native to any other area except the Northern African Mediterranean area. That's where humans came from, as far as we know now. Genetics will tell us that. If everyone goes back, we're all related to the same tribe of people in Africa going back. I forget how many years ago, long ass time, older than I am. And we all came from the Mediterranean area, out of Africa. We all came out of Africa and we populated the world. So who knows when that happened, where it happened, because the science keeps changing. You know how they always say, follow the science. We do follow the science. Science changes. I mean, it was like with COVID. Science was changing so much. You didn't know what was real science and what was phony science. I mean, by the end of it, we were wearing 10 masks and taking 20 shots and still getting COVID. It was crazy. But science with this is a little more definitive when it comes to archaeology. And field site shows evidence of humans in Oregon 18,000 years ago. Now, I imagine they've probably left since then because the state has gone to shit. So all of these nomads who were here 18,000 years ago, they said, oh my God, look what they did to the place. We're out of here. So that's why we can find their remains, because they didn't want to stay for the shit show that Oregon has become now. And so this always cracks me up. Oregon Outlaw says Columbo was the last one here. Was the last one. Hey, yeah, you would have to explain that one to me, Oregon Outlaw. I'm not sure where you're going with that. So let me get back to my field site shows. This is interesting because I used to live not far from Clovis, New Mexico, and the Clovis Indian site. And in fact, there's a white sand site where they have footprints they found going back to 16,000 years. And then they found this archaeological site going back to 18,000 years. You know what that means? There were people here before there was the Arctic shelf, the Arctic bridge between the two continents, the Asian continent and the American continents. So there's no way that they came across on the ice shelf. They had to have come here through boats or other means, maybe ancient aliens. That guy with funny hair, he will tell you that. It's ancient aliens. That's all it could be, ancient aliens. Well, I'm not buying into that quite yet. But I think that there has been a lot more history that we don't know about and has vanished and we'll never know about because that's just the way humans are. We make things and create things that just don't last. And the only things that do last are things that we actually go out and etch in stone. And other than that, other than biological sources such as teeth, human teeth, they found in this, as you can see there on the screen, this site there, that's an archaeological site there. And it says Oregon archaeologists have found evidence suggesting humans occupied the Rim Rock Draw Rock shelter outside of what is now the eastern Oregon town of Riley more than 18,000 years ago. The University of Oregon's Museum of Natural and Cultural History Archaeological Field School, led by UO archaeologist Patrick O'Grady, he sounds a little Irish, don't he, has been excavating at the Rim Rock Draw Rock Shelter since 2011 under an official partnership agreement with the Bureau of Land Management. Discoveries at the site have included stone tools and extinct mammal tooth fragments from the Pleistocene epoch. Or is it epoch? Well, I had an argument. It's epoch if it's meaning one way and epic if it's another. I think in this one it's an epoch. The Pliocene, is that Pleistocene? I'm not sure. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that right at all, so don't take my word for it. But the pieces of tooth enamel are identified as bison and camel. In 2012, O'Grady's team found camel teeth fragments. And by the way, camels used to be here in America. I don't know whether you guys knew that. Yeah, camels existed here many, many years ago. And being from New Mexico, I knew that. I knew that they had camels out there. It's interesting. But the camel teeth fragments under a layer of volcanic ash from an eruption in Mount St. Helens that was dated at more than 15,000 years ago. The team also uncovered two finely crafted orange agate scrapers, one in 2012 with preserved bison blood residue and another in 2015 buried deeper in the ash. Natural layering of the rock shelter sediment suggests the scrapers are older than both the volcanic ash and camel teeth. Boy, this is going to turn all that Native American BS on its head now, isn't it? Yep. Now, wait until we find out if those giant skeletons they found in the Grand Canyon, wait until we find out if that's true or not. Yeah. But radiocarbon dating analysis on the tooth enamel, first in 2018 and then again in 2023 by Thomas W. Stafford Jr. and Stafford Research, and John Southon of University of California, Irvine, yielding exciting results, a date of 18,250 years before the present. Wow. Wow. That's incredible. That date, in association with Stone Tool, suggests that the Rimrock Draw Rock Shelter is one of the oldest sites of human occupation in North America. And I thought Grandma's house was one of the oldest sites in North America. And apparently not. Grandma will be upset to find that out. Yeah. This is wild stuff. This is wild stuff. I love how archaeology just keeps changing. You know, we just don't know what we don't know, and they're finding out more. But it says this early date aligns well with the oral histories of the tribal nations in the region, many of whom have stories about witnessing geological events like the Missoula floods, a series of events that changed everything for the tribes between 18,000 and 15,000 years ago, said David Lewis, who received his doctorate in anthropology from the UO and is currently a professor of anthropology at Oregon State University. As well, tribes have oral histories of encountering giant animals, monstrous on the land, and Rimrock Draw rock shelters. Evidence suggests that we did interact with the megafauna, and they may have become characters in our histories of time before memory. And all those oral histories, you got to take them with a grain of salt, but people tell those stories because there's a little bit of truth to them. I mean, we, over the generations, I'm sure it's been elaborated and reinterpreted, but we know these things happen because our history, oral histories of not just the Native Americans, but many different civilizations have told us that. So, yeah. Additional testing of other camel and bison tooth fragments is currently underway, and archaeobotanists are studying plant remains from cooking fires as well. And you can read more about this on News Oregon EDU. This is News Oregon website. But once again, here we are, and follow the science. And the science, again, is changing. Were the first Americans really the first Americans? Were they Europeans? I mean, they have European blood in them. They have Australian blood. Yeah, the tribes of Australia. I forget the names of who are the people in Australia. They found genetics from people in Australia, the tribes in Australia, all the way down there, who were related to people I think it was in South America. This is just some really incredible stuff. The genetics and the carbon dating on this is just some incredibly interesting stuff. Hopefully we'll find out more about this. Now, this next story, I debated on whether showing this next story. But once again, you have to call out your own when your own does something incredibly stupid. And I don't know who this guy is that did this. I don't know if he's a Republican, a Trump supporter, or whatnot. But if he is, it really ticks me off. And I thought I should do the story just in case he is, so that we can show that we're willing to make our own people live up to certain standards. And this one here, Oregon man pleads guilty to federal hate crime violation. And I thought, what did he use? Did he call someone the N-word? Oh my God, stab him to death. But no, in Oregon, don't worry about it. This is a whole other federal hate crime. And I agree with this one. You got to listen to this. This is really screwed up. This is really messed up. Listen to this. Eugene, Oregon. A Springfield, Oregon man appeared before the U.S. District Court judge today and pleaded guilty to a federal hate crime for assaulting a victim on the basis of their sexual orientation. Stupid reason to get violent against anyone. But Daniel Andrew McGee, 26, pleaded guilty to one count of a hate crime act involving an attempt to kill. This is just incredible. Listen to this. According to court documents, on the evening of July 5th, 2021, McGee met the victim at the victim's apartment after communicating on the dating application Grindr, an application designed for and primarily used by gay men. McGee assaulted the victim over the course of several minutes, striking the victim on the head with a wooden tire thumper. The victim sustained life-threatening injuries during the assault, including serious head wounds. What the hell's the matter with this guy? The investigation revealed McGee had been researching and planning the attack for weeks. What a sick sadist piece of crap. For at least 1 month prior to the attack, McGee searched the internet for homophobic and graphically violent anti-gay material. Now I have to push back. I don't think this guy is a homophobe. He's a homicidal person. Yes, he's not homophobic. He's homicidal. If you're homicidal, that you've got a lot of problems. Homicidal. Yeah, that's it. Not homophobic. It's homicidal. I don't know if that's a real term, but I'm coming up with it now. But it says, continue here. It says McGee planned for the attack by purchasing the weapon and other materials from Amazon, of course, and searching the internet for suggestions on how to get away with murder. Well, I can tell you how to get away with murder. Don't commit one. Yeah, there you go. On November 18, 2021, a federal grand jury in Eugene, Oregon, returned a 1-count indictment charging McGee with a hate crime act involving an attempt to kill. McGee faces a maximum sentence of life in prison, which he deserves, a $250,000 fine, and 5 years of supervised release probation. He will be sentenced on March 3rd, 2026, before a U.S. District Court judge. As part of the plea agreement, McGee has agreed to pay restitution in full to his victim, as he should. What a piece of crap. This case was investigated by the Federal Bureau of Investigation with the assistance from the Eugene Police Department. Joseph Hunn, Assistant U.S. Attorney for the District of Oregon. Blah, blah, blah. And this right here, there are some sick people out there who will take their hate of someone to a whole new level. I don't know why these people, I don't know why they feel a need to do this. And I've got my own suspicions that this guy's gay. McGee is as queer as you can get. He's a bone toker, flesh fluting, on his knees, as gay as you can be. Okay. That's why he's going after gay people, because he hates himself so much that he wants to kill anything that represents that. And what pisses me off is, how do we know that the gay person that he's going after wasn't a Trump supporter? Just because you're gay doesn't mean you're a Trump supporter. Scott Presler is gay. He's a big Trump supporter. So I don't know. These people who hate someone because of their sexual orientation, I think it's because they just aren't willing to recognize that stranger inside themselves. You know, the song by Billy Joel, The Stranger. Have you ever let your lover see the stranger in yourself? Well, McGee, that's what he's doing. I think Carl Jung called it the shadow. That's right. He's not getting comfortable with the dark side, his dark side, the shadow, because he doesn't want to realize that he's as queer as the guy that he's attacking. That's what McGee's problem is, and that's why he has to do it. And there were stories that I heard about a friend of mine who had a buddy, and this is, like I said, secondhand stories, where he used to go to this gay bar at the airport in Albuquerque. And my first question was, well, if he isn't gay, how does he know about a gay bar? But he used to go to this gay bar, and he would meet guys there, and he would rob them in the parking lot. Yeah, I know. I had really lousy friends back then. But this is a friend of a friend. So he used to tell me this story. But here's the funny part. One time this guy goes to the airport, and goes to the bar, and he gets a guy to come out to the parking lot where he's going to rob them. And he tries to rob this gay guy. And it turns out this gay guy knows how to defend himself and kicks his ass. So the police get called on him, and he gets arrested for robbery. And of course, back then, this was in the 80s, he didn't get arrested for any hate crimes, because hate crimes are just not real. I mean, if you assault someone, it doesn't matter why you assault them. Assault is assault, and it should be prosecuted vigorously. And so this guy not only got beat up by the queer that he was trying to victimize, but he got arrested, and his name got put in the paper. And so my buddy was telling me about his buddy who was in the news for beating up gay guys at the local Albuquerque gay bar. And once again, I thought, well, if he's not gay, how does he know about the bar? I didn't know about the bar. Nobody was telling us straight guys. So what's going on there? I don't know. A little strange, but And Steve Nye says, "Oh my God, you are stinking hilarious." Well, I got a lot of cool stories, about that. I lived in a really, really wild neighborhood, and I used to I'd come home in the evening. I lived in the barrio of Albuquerque, and I'd sit on the corner with this old Mexican guy, Manny. We'd sit there and we'd drink beer. And I remember one time this truck pulling up, and the truck was bouncing and stopping. And I was trying to stop, and he gets out, and this hooker gets out. And within a couple of minutes, you realize this hooker, who looks like a woman, is actually a guy. And the guy is pissed off because the driver of the truck, won't pay him the money. And the guy in the truck who's driving is mad because, he got a bait and switch. He thought he was getting a chick and he was getting dick. And he didn't want that. And he felt like I shouldn't have to pay for it. But the tranny thought otherwise. And the guy came out to hit the tranny, and the tranny knocked this guy in his ass. It was the funniest damn thing. And the guy got back in his truck, was all mad, and left without paying the tranny. But then the tranny walked off, stomping and fuming. And it was better than freaking watching cable. I mean, me and Manny sat out there watching this go on, and we're like, this is funny. This is freaking funny. So, yeah, when you live in bad neighborhoods, yeah, they're bad neighborhoods, but you got to take advantage of them. You sit on your porch, and if you're not killed in the crossfire of the gangbangers who are shooting at each other, then it's a pretty entertaining place to live. So what can I tell you? I got a lot of stories like that. That's, that's just my life. And so Oregon Outlaw says, "Oh, LOL, it was a hate crime, whatever that is." And once again, yeah, there should be no such thing as a hate crime. Assault is assault. I don't think someone who is assaulted because they're gay should have an extra extension added on to their crime that they're victimized of when someone else is being charged at a lesser law because they beat up someone who wasn't gay or wasn't a minority. That's just not right. So whoever gets assaulted, it should be the same crime. The intent shouldn't matter. It's just ridiculous. So I did have a couple of other stories to tell you about, because I did some of those Oregon stories, and I've got some bad news. Really, really bad news, but I think it's going to get better. Let me see if I can share that here. Where is it? Geez. Share screen. Right here. Let's share this. Let's see if we're sharing that. Yeah, let's share that. Here we go. Did you guys hear about this? This is going to affect us. Hopefully it's only going to affect us that it's just going to be a boost for all the green weenies out there, all the green weenies who took it in the shorts the last couple of times, which is kind of a gross image. Green weenies taking it in the shorts. That was a Jim Bice term. I apologize. Maybe I shouldn't be using that. But the New Jersey Monitor here did a story on a court case where the judge strikes down the Trump order that froze wind energy permitting and leasing. Well, that could affect us here in Oregon. Of course, let me read you a little bit further here. Let me make sure I'm sharing this. Yeah. A federal judge struck down an executive order issued by President Donald Trump that indefinitely froze permits and leasing for wind energy projects, finding federal agencies had neither explained nor justified the regulatory about face that followed the order. So they're going back and forth in the courts, and the Supreme Court has already ruled, and I think it says this down here in the story. Let me, it says here, the judge found a recent order from the U.S. Supreme Court that held agencies do not need a reasoned explanation to justify following executive orders stemming from authority explicitly and exclusively granted to the president by Congress does not apply in this case. Now, I think that they're wrong, and this judge is wrong. This is an activist judge. I don't know who he is or what he's doing, but once again, I think this is someone who's trying to push the green weenie agenda. And I hope the green weenies takes it in the shorts again, because this is going to go up the chain. And I don't know where this goes from here. Maybe it said at the end of the story. Let's see. Says, like other wind projects, Atlantis shores are facing no. So all on the East Coast, when the president did his executive order, all of those permitting lease areas were already leased. And so it didn't have a lot of effect on them, except that when he took the leases out of all the other places around the United States, it caused instability in the wind turbine business, which it should have, because it's the wind turbine business is almost 100% subsidized by the government. It's just nonsense. If it was good, it wouldn't need to be subsidized. And so all that Trump did was take the money out of these projects and took away the leasing, which I think he totally has the authority to do. And I think when the judge makes the decision on this, it will probably go to the Supreme Court. I think you're going to find that Trump's going to win. Yep, those green weenies taking it in the shorts again. Let's see. What other thing did I? Here's another issue that just was bugging the hell out of me. And here's Tampon Tim, not to be confused with their own Tampon Dave, but Fed spent $27 million on Minnesota Somali community since fiscal year 2021. You're gonna hate this story if you go to work every day. If you went to work today and you worked your ass off, and at the end of the week you're gonna pick up your paycheck and you realize how much money you just sent to the feds and to the state and to the county, and then you read a story like this, it's just gonna piss you off. Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm apologizing right now for pissing you off, but I got to do it. And this is from Open the Books. This is from Open Books organization. This great organization. The Fed spent $27 million. Let's read. I love this picture. This picture is great of Tim. This is Tim. Welcome to Minnesota, land of 10,000 frauds. Yes, feeding our future. Yeah. Tim, Kotek Tim, yep, Tampon Tim, yep. The Somali community of Minnesota has drawn attention in recent weeks as dozens of Somali immigrants have been arrested in retaliation, in relation to welfare ripoff scams worth upwards of $1 billion. The funding so far is related to federally subsidized state spending through COVID-19 emergency funds intended to help hungry children during the government shutdown and through Medicaid fraud. As it turns out, immigrants from Somalia are a major constituency to serve and keep happy in Minnesota, but they're not only drawing federal dollars through state programs that bill CMS, they're also named beneficiaries in millions of dollars worth of federal grants, and those dollars are aimed in part to help them preserve a distinct culture through culturally relevant programming and services. Now, let me ask you this. If these people want to become Americans, they're supposed to agree to assimilate to America. They're supposed to accept our culture. They can keep their culture, but we Americans shouldn't be paying for them to keep their culture. I'm Irish. What are you? What are you at home? Are you Italian? You German? Well, you've got your culture from when your parents, your great-grandparents, or whoever in your family came over to this country. They brought that culture with you. And if you were lucky enough to keep that in your family, I mean, I'll do an Irish jig every now and then. I stopped drinking whiskey, but I do an Irish jig every now and then. And I told you I used to go to Christmas mass. So we did a lot of Irish things. And so the Somalis, if they want to keep their culture, we the taxpayers sure as hell shouldn't be paying for these people. And so this is just another, salt in the wound of the taxpayer here. But so how many federal grants directly fund a Somalia community in Minnesota? Open the Books research shows that there were $27 million worth in fiscal year 2025. Grants either directly addressed to Somalia community in Minnesota or include the Somalia community and other minority outreach or research efforts. Most funding, $14.3 million, was spent on various projects with the University of Minnesota. The university seems to have profited handsomely from initiatives addressing assimilation issues within the Somali community. And then it talks about all the projects and where they spent the money. I really don't want to go through with that because I'm already ticked off that this money, they've already wasted billions of dollars, and now we're finding another 27 million that the Fed spent for this group of people who, well, probably never should have been in this country in the first place. So yeah, God, man, it's just, if it ain't one thing, it's another. Now, I didn't know whether I wanted to show this next story. It was revolting, but I had to, because there were people on Facebook who were saying that the story was wrong, it was incorrect, that it wasn't true when I made a post of the story. And so I want to put this up there. This is the post that I reposted on Facebook talking about this guy who assaulted, raped somebody to death. This man literally raped somebody to death. And the story I got out of the Nashville and Davidson County newspaper says, man charged with 4 counts of rape for sexually assaulting impaired, unconscious woman. Yeah, the victim has been identified through her fingerprints as a 34-year-old Nashville woman who is believed to have been homeless. In MNPD, chaplain is working to locate and notify her next of kin. The medical examiner is awaiting toxicology testing before determining the cause of death. Special victims detectives this morning charged Mohammed, 39. And by the way, they don't even know this guy's real name. They don't even know if this is his real name, with 4 counts of rape for sexually assaulting an unidentified, impaired, unconscious woman multiple times Thursday night in front of a church in the 2600 block of Nolensville Pike. This woman was transported to the Vanderbilt University Medical Center, where she died shortly after arrival. An autopsy is pending. A Nashville Fire Department crew, Engine 21, traveling on Nolensville Pike just after 9:30 p.m. en route to a call, saw the sexual assault taking place on the sidewalk in front of the church. Nice. If you're gonna commit a sexual assault, that's a place you probably don't want to do it, is on the steps of a church, because God probably looks down on you for violating his house. I certainly hope so. I hope there is a special place in hell for this person. But they turned around and chirped their siren as they pulled up to the sidewalk. Mohammed was attempting to pull up the unconscious victim's pants. The fire crew detained Mohammed, called for police, and rendered aid to the victim. MNPD homicide, special victims, and narcotics detectives responded to the scene. Surveillance video shows the victim by herself walking unsteadily towards the front steps of the church. She was unable to keep her balance and sat down on the step, appearing to be under the influence of some type of substance. Mohammed approached and sat down beside her. Mohammed made physical contact with the victim as she went in and out of consciousness as she tried to push him away. He ultimately lifted her off the steps, put her on the ground, and repeatedly sexually assaulted her. Mohammed refuses to be interviewed. After being taken to police headquarters, a judicial commissioner set his bond at $300,000. The investigation is continuing as detectives await information from the medical examiner's office on the victim's cause of death. She carried no identification. An attempt is being made to identify her through fingerprints, and this is the piece of crap. And by the way, let me share this. Let me take this post off of here and show you what I was reading, the story I was getting that from. This right here is from the Nashville Government Police Department, talking about the man charged with 4 counts of rape for sexually assaulting him. This came from the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department. I think I said a paper. This was the actual PD report. But what they're missing here, and if you put this up on stage, this guy had gotten out several times. This guy raped a 34 on the steps of a Nashville church. And he had 16 prior charges for sexual battery, indecent exposure, trespass, drug offenses, and more. Why wasn't this man in jail? This is, he raped a homeless woman, a woman who was already defenseless, who's already downtrodden, who's on her last bit of hope, and he rapes her at the end of the steps of a church. And then people wonder why I might have a bias against criminals, and especially Somali criminals who are not supposed to be in the country legally. If the Trump administration deports this guy to a horrible prison in South America, are you going to feel sorry for him? I know I won't. I mean, maybe when they find the family, maybe when they identify the woman he raped and murdered and find her family, maybe her family will want him to suffer in a jail in South America. God, I hate these stories. I'm so disgusted by people. It's so hard to just continue to watch the degradation of our society. It's just getting worse and worse and worse. And I don't like to do those stories, but I had to because people were actually saying that I was lying about this. They were saying, "Oh no, Rob, that didn't. You're just a racist and you're making this up." I just showed you the police report. Everything I told you, including him being released, all that wasn't in a police report. They didn't talk about how many times he was released before. And here we are again, sitting here on the edge of Christmas. Christmas of all, you get raped and murdered. And well, this probably happened at another time, but to find out about it and to be going through this at this time of year, and knowing that this poor woman's family is going to have to go through this, it's just sad. Very, very sad. And I hate reporting on these things. Let's talk about some good stuff. Let's talk about the no tax on Oregon. God, we wished we're the most highest tax state in the whole damn nation. No tax Oregon. And we did get enough signatures to put this repeal. It's a referendum. They call it a referendum, and the referendum actually repeals the gas tax, but it was a partial repeal of House Bill 3991. And we got rid of if we win this on the ballot, we're supposed to be able to get rid of the increase in gas taxes, registration to title fees, all that's supposed to go. Payroll taxes doubles, that's supposed to go. But here's what's left. Left. The electric hybrid vehicle charges phases in or go. Oregon citizens will be charged per mile for using their vehicle with an option of paying an annual fee to use their vehicle. Don't you like that? You're going to pay an annual fee to use your vehicle, or they're going to have to track you wherever you go. Yeah, not much of an option there. The second thing it does is changes power to hire and fire ODOT director from OTC to governor because she wants to be queen. And this is much like ODE, consolidation of power. Every other state has an elected superintendent of superintendents. In Oregon, it's whatever Warhammer the governor chooses. Yeah, it's a sad thing. And it establishes and maintains a framework for the land and infrastructure to create toll booths for tolled roads in Oregon. And now they're able, thanks to the legislature in 2017, they're able to toll us at any time, anywhere they want. And that's why we have to get more signatures for the no tolls petition. And so that's one of the things that is happening here. And you can we will have that petition until the 18th. I'm not sure if it'll be turned in with the ones that get turned in, but it will be with the second group. That's a backup to the 190,000 petitions. We probably are over 200,000 now. We keep turning them in. I'm sure they keep turning them in as they go along. But the vote before tolls, this is very important because they're going to toll us, folks. They're going to get that money one way or another. And so you need to sign that petition. Better yet, if you can find a way to go out and collect signatures, please do that. That would be the best thing. No Tax Oregon, if you want to find out about more of No Tax Oregon, go to www.notaxorg.com and vote by mail, the most important petition out there, because this is a corrupt system. This voting by mail and the dirty voter rolls are the two major reasons that we are never going to get anywhere in Oregon. They've got the system rigged, folks. The system is rigged. And if we don't do something about it, we don't get this petition out there, well, it's not going to help us to continue this. And hopefully the feds will do something from the top down, but this is from the bottom up. This is from the grassroots. And a lot of good people working on this. And I know there are many in the Republican Party who are mad because we have this end vote by mail petition. They keep saying that it's going to suppress voter turnout for Republicans and NABs who want to vote for Republicans, because what they're hearing from us is that the election is corrupt. And yes, the election is corrupt, but they're also hearing you still have to participate. You still have to participate because there's a chance to beat the cheat. That's right. You can beat the cheat. And that's what they're trying to do. And there's only a certain percentage that they can cheat. They've got a limit on what they can do. That's why we need as many people out there voting as we can. And yes, we know we're using a corrupt election system, a voting system, to end a corrupt voting system. Yeah, the irony is not lost on me, folks. But I think people are smart enough to know that if this is put on the ballot in November for the governor's election, it's not going to hurt the Republican candidate, because people are smart enough to know. And in fact, if the repeal for the gas tax is put on the November ballot, I believe that's going to cause Tina Kotek to lose. I believe that gas tax is going to weigh on her like an anchor around her neck. And I don't think this end vote by mail is going to do a damn thing to the Republicans, because people are more mad about their taxes going up, having to pay more for gas. We already pay a huge amount for gas here, more than most. I was looking at states that were paying $1.95 for gas. $1.95, ridiculous. And what are we paying? I think I paid almost $4 yesterday. Well, we need to stop these taxes. We need to get this state going in the right direction. And to do it is we got to end the corrupt system. Now we got some help coming. Look, we got some help. Scott Pressler across Oregon, NVBM. That's right, baby. He's coming here. Elections. One day, in-person, hand-counted with ID. Isn't that lovely? Set up a pop-up this week to gather signatures, January 19th through the 25th. So what we're doing is we're asking people, if we've got a week where Scott's going to come to Oregon, and we are going to have him here for at least a day at one of our booths in Coos County. He will be here. And you can come out and meet Scott, talk with him, and find out what he's been doing in other states. A lot of good work. But you too can help us get signatures. And we're going to be pushing this out during this week. It's going to be very, very good stuff. And if you want to request a circulator packet, that's a packet, you got to send an email to HQ. Let me say that again, HQ@nvbm.com. Once again, that's HQ@nvbm.com. People who want to host a pop-up January 19th through the 25th can register their event here. And right there is the website, the link that you need. Go to NVBM event registration. Go to the event registration at NVBM and sign up. Sign up. Let's get this done. Let's end vote by mail. You know it's corrupt. I know it's corrupt. The Democrats, they damn well know it's corrupt. They've been using it to cheat our system. So let's do something, folks. Let's do something. Help us out. And to help go along with that, we're asking people to become PCPs. Not to do PCP. No, we don't want you on angel dust. We want you to be a precinct committee person. If you want to be a precinct committee person and be on angel dust, I wouldn't recommend coming to the committee meetings. It's already bad enough. So no angel dust, just PCP. And if you want to be a PCP, that's a precinct committee person, scan this code. Scan the QR code to become a precinct committee person. Once you register at the Secretary of State's website, you will have your name on the ballot in the May primary to represent your precinct within the county. Check your voter registration card to find the correct precinct. Now, this Wednesday, because we had a trial, was it last week? Oh, gosh. So the week before last. I'm losing track of time, but it was the 5th. Yeah, so it was 2 weeks ago, I believe. 2 Fridays ago. I think it was 2 Fridays ago. Doesn't matter. We had a court case, and the judge told Michael, because Michael said he was going to have an executive meeting to appoint the PCPs. There's over 50 of them now that want to be appointed. And he said he would appoint them. And the judge says, you pretty much have to appoint them. There's no reason not to. They meet all the qualifications. So there's no reason. So the judge is setting up Michael Brainerd. And if the executive committee and Michael Brainerd refuse to appoint those PCPs, they're going to have to answer to that in the court. I can guarantee you. But if they do it, they may have solved their own problem. I don't know. We'll see. But this is going to happen down the road. This is happening this Wednesday, and it's a private meeting. I don't know where it's going to be at. I don't know what time it's happening, so don't even bother asking me. And only the executive committee is allowed, and we will find out late Friday night whether we are actual PCPs or not. And if we are, hallelujah, things are going to change. We're going to get things changing. But if you want to get involved, and I'm pleading with you folks, the only way you're going to change anything is getting involved. The only way you're going to change the party is by belonging to the party. And the one way to do it is to be a PCP, because then you can go to the important meetings and vote for good conservatives instead of the lousy people who are now in charge. I wouldn't call them conservative. I've called them a lot of other things, but I certainly wouldn't call them conservative. But if you want to join up, this would be a good way to do it. Click this QR code. Let's see. Coos County's Turning Point. This is happening at the Egyptian Theater. Once again, scan the QR code and you can purchase tickets for the Coos County Turning Point. It's only $7. I thought it was going to be $5, but for some reason we had to kick it up to $7 because, well, we have to cover our ass. There's so much animosity from the left towards people of the right, towards people of Turning Point, that they have made it a dangerous situation for businesses out there to host these events. And so there were several restaurants who just wouldn't take our event because, well, they didn't want the risk. And so it was hard to find a venue and stuff. And luckily, the Egyptian Theater, through negotiations, has decided to allow us to show up there, and hopefully nothing will happen. And you can purchase your tickets right here by scanning this QR code. Now, we will have a mystery speaker. We're not sure who that is. There's several people who are potential speakers. We don't know. They're not sure whether they're going to be around at the end of January or not. So we don't know if they're going to be able to do our thing and be a speaker here in Coos County. But we do have several speakers, and they're very, very excellent communicators. And we're asking a lot of the young people in the area to please attend. This is supposed to be for people in high school and college age kids. This isn't for old guys like me. I mean, I'll be showing up because I think I'm the host. But yeah, this isn't for old guys like me. This is for all you younger people who know that there's something wrong with your country. You know that there's just something not right. There's something, it's like an itch in your mind that you can't scratch, but yet there it is. And you feel like you need to do something about it. Well, get involved. Start your own Turning Point group. Now, like I said, people have been making it tough for us. And if you guys know Sal Carruthers was causing problems for us. But then he put this post out. And I'm a person who believes that if someone wants to change their path, if they want to do the right thing after doing the wrong thing, I'm willing to give them a chance. Even Sal Carruthers, even though people are going, "Oh, Rob, don't believe him, don't believe him." I'm going to let him. I'm going to take him for his word. Yeah, I know this is crazy, but Sal here, let me read this to you. He says, after a lot of thought, I've decided that for the sake of the holidays and the overall peace of our community, I'll be pressing pause on public discussion about the upcoming Turning Point events scheduled for late January until after the first of the year, unless something significant develops in the meantime, which I don't know what that would be. I mean, we're not planning the cross burning until spring, and that's well off. So I don't know what he's talking about. And by the way, for all of you, that's a joke. I was being sarcastic. We don't burn crosses because we're not part of the KKK. That's the Democrat Party. So for those of you who don't realize, that was a joke. But I continue. Says this feels like the right moment to give everyone a little breathing room and let the season do what it's meant to do. I sincerely wish all parties a happy holiday and a calm, hopeful start to the new year. Sometimes the most strategic move is letting the eggnog settle before returning to the debate table. And this is from Sal Carruthers. And Sal, if you are in earnest of what you're saying, then thank you. We appreciate it. We appreciate you laying off. And by the way, until after the new year, you won't hear your name mentioned on this show again, unless you do something crazy. And then I will have to share. But man, I think this is great. This is really great. It says, and here he says, again, he says, I will refrain from discussing the upcoming Turning Point events planned at the end of January until after the first of the year, barring any developments of note. I truly wish all parties a happy holiday. And happy holiday. Merry Christmas, Sal. Merry Christmas and a happy new year. Celebrate the birth of Jesus. Sal, I know you're an atheist, but you might want to look into the philosophy of Jesus. Thomas Jefferson wrote a Bible, the Jefferson Bible, where he took out all the mysticism of Jesus and just wrote the words of Jesus. And it's a very beautiful Bible. If you just listen to his philosophy, it's a beautiful thing. And I recommend everyone to read Jefferson's Bible. And I hope, Sal, I hope you're totally right on with this and you don't give us any more problems, because we don't mean you any harm and we don't mean anyone else out any harm. We just want to have an event. We just want to go and listen to our speakers, man. We just want to go have a dinner. And it's not fair that people can ruin all of it by constantly complaining and raising a fuss on the internet. It's crazy. Going back to the trial with the Republican Party, you can go find the recording of the Republican Party trial, the Danessa Rains versus Michael Brainerd. I have it on Rumble. Go to Rob Taylor Report on Rumble, and it's right on my video catalog right there. Look for this meme right here, the Coos County Republican Central Committee on trial. And you listen to the trial. You go listen to it and tell me who you think is the problem. Just shut your eyes and listen to what everyone has to say in the courtroom, because we can only tell you what the judge will allow us to say, and we can only answer the questions that were asked. So this gives you a chance to hear both sides objectively, somewhat objectively, compared to the back and forth that we've been having over the recent days. So I recommend, if you want to find out more, go to Rumble and check out my Rumble page. Very good stuff. Let's see. I got some comments here. Samantha says, Trump is about to sign an executive order that will end mail-in voting. And that's what I'm hoping will happen, is that he will sign an executive order that you cannot use mail-in ballots for federal elections. And it would really put Oregon in a crunch, because they would have to decide whether they were going to follow federal law to do federal elections, which they would have to. That would be great. And I think Congress should act on it. Too bad Congress. Where the hell is Congress? Where the hell are those guys? Do they do anything? I mean, there is so much fixing. And the immigration laws. Why aren't the immigration laws? And you know what? And they're probably going to lose in the midterms. We're probably going to have a reset in the midterms. So the president may not even have the House and the Senate. So it just makes me mad that we're not getting what we really need out of our legislators. Let's see. Steve Nye says, how do we fix voter turnout and engagement? That's a good question. I don't know. I really don't know. People are just, they've gotten to the point where apathy has taken over their life, and voting doesn't even register on the radar anymore. And so people are just, they don't give a shit anymore. They don't care. They don't think it's going to do anything. And it's sad because I have a problem arguing against it. I feel like every time I vote, nothing really happens. But yet here I am fighting for one way or another. And then if you notice, I pretty much have stopped fighting on the national or the state level. The only place I give a damn about is Coos County. And Coos County is where it's at, and that's what's important. So I don't know, Steve. That's a damn good question. Let's see. What else do I have here? Let me check it out. Oh, yes. This lady's running. She's going to run for governor. She's going to run again, and I hope all of you are ready to stand up against her. And I want to let everyone know, I can't stand Christine Drazen, but if she comes out as the primary winner, I will vote for the Republican if it's her. Any of those other people, they win, I'll probably vote for them. And unless they, you find out that they've got a dead hooker in their closet. I don't know. But boy, if they find Christine Drazen with a dead hooker in her closet, boy, that's going to be a story. But seriously, we need to vote for the Republican. And no matter how much we despise that person for governor, I mean, for all the down ballots, if you got a lousy Republican choice, don't vote for that Republican. I mark many times none of the above because neither candidate, neither the Democrat nor the Republican deserves my vote. And just because I'm with the ORP, just because I'm a member of the Republican Party doesn't mean I have to support every Republican. In fact, I say it's my duty not to have to support every Republican because we have to make sure that there's a standard that our candidates are living by. And unfortunately, we don't have the luxury of that happening in the next election. And we're going to get stuck with this lady, and it's sad. Samantha says, it's a stretch to call that thing a lady. I was being polite. Yeah, I'm not even sure. I think she probably pees standing up, And I don't want to say she's manly, but the hair on her chest really probably gives it away. It's, yeah, very, very scary stuff there. Oh, I've already shown you that. Okay, so I think I've ran through. Okay. Let me remove that. Yeah, I think I talked about everything. Nope. I did have one other thing that I wanted to talk about. Rob Reiner and his wife was murdered by their son. I couldn't stand Rob Reiner, but no one deserves to be murdered by their own child. That's really screwed up. But I think it goes to show that these people who live in glass houses, this is what happens when you throw stones. Those stones sometimes bounce back at you, and your son bounced back at you. What did you do to your son? What did you create in your child? He had everything. He was the most privileged person on the planet. And you must have raised him in a leftist household, Rob Reiner. I don't know. It just seems like you must have raised him in a leftist household. I watched you over the years. I've been watching Rob Reiner go back, way back when he was in All in the Family. And when All in the Family was on, we'd gather around the TV. It was the funniest thing. Archie was hilarious. But the president made a comment about Rob Reiner's death. I want to read it to you because I think people are really giving him too much heat for this comment. I don't think it's that bad. And in fact, I think if you read it, you might see the president is trying to show that there are people who are going through things no matter what position you are in life, and that maybe we should take a moment to step back like Sal just did. Sal, I shouldn't mention his name. I told him I wouldn't, but as that other person I talked about earlier, he stepped back and he's saying he's going to wish us a Merry Christmas and move on. And that's a beautiful thing. And sometimes I think these rich people, who's the chick who Rosie O'Donnell, who just moved to Ireland. Yeah, Ireland, they're fighting against the immigrants. Boy, she would have been the first immigrant I would have fought against. But they can have her. But she needs to step back. These people need to step back, because obviously in Rob Reiner's case, there was something in his life that went seriously wrong in his life or his child's life. So him preaching to us how to live, that's what ticks me off about the left. You've got the most eggshell, fragile, emotionally fragile people who can't tolerate any kind of pressure. And they've got all these anxieties, all these neuroses, and yet they want to tell the rest of us how to live our lives. And Rob Reiner is a perfect example of that. And I want to read this to you. This is from Donald Trump. He says, a very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away together with his wife, Michelle, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. He was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession with President Donald Trump, with his obvious paranoia reaching new heights as the Trump administration surpassed all goals and expectations of greatness. And with the golden age of America upon us, perhaps like never before, may Rob and Michelle rest in peace. And I didn't see a damn thing wrong with that. He says, may Rob and Michelle rest in peace, after explaining why people might want to step back from politics and maybe look around, get a sense of your surroundings, maybe reevaluate your life. I don't know. But I don't have any problem with what the president said. I don't think there's anything wrong with what he wrote there. And I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Samantha says he owned Castle Rock Studios. Yeah, he did own Castle Rock Studios. She's talking about Rob Reiner. He was a very wealthy man in the end. He was an incredible director. I loved a lot of his movies that he made. I just didn't like him, his politics. It was just lousy. Let's see. And on the Epstein list too. Was Rob Reiner on the Epstein list? I don't know. I will find that out. I will find out. Doesn't matter. Trump was mentioned in the Epstein list. I know it wasn't in a bad way, but he was mentioned. Just the fact that he was mentioned means he's guilty. Guilty by association, you know. So yeah, the Epstein list, boy, that's going to go on forever, isn't it? So I don't know. Don't criticize Trump too hard. I really don't think it was that bad of a message. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Well, I hope you all enjoyed the show. I hope you enjoyed watching. Before I get out of here, though, I've got to give kudos. By the way, 3H Tree Service, they didn't play Where's 3H Tree Service today, and it won't be until the beginning of the next year. They're taking a little bit of vacation from playing the game because they had a huge game this last Monday, which was really cool. They gave away a lot of stuff to a lot of needy people out there. And so I couldn't recommend these guys more than anyone else. These people are incredible people. The Homans do so much for this community, and they do so much for people who are in need, people who they have tree problems. Yeah, sometimes they'll come and get cats out of the tree. I've seen Matt Holman save a few cats, but they're good people. And if you want to reach out to 3H Tree Service because you need to take care of those trees in your yard and you want a new view, well, give them a call at 541-294-1800. Once again, that's 541-294-1800 to reach 3H Tree Service. And I recommend going to their Facebook page of the same name, 3H Tree Service, and check out all of their really cool videos. They got a lot of cool, informative videos out there. Let's see. Tom and Gigs. I'll be over at Tom and Gigs the next couple of days. I got to go see Tim and Shanna, see what they've been up to. And if you want to go and take care of your automotive needs, you can do that. They can be found at in Coos Bay at 541-888-4660. Once again, that's 541-888-4660. And they're located at 135 South Shoneman Street. in the Empire neighborhood, right behind the car wash, there's their store, the Tom and Gigs. They sell lift kits and performance accessories. They have a lot of RC toys, a lot of RC trucks, a lot of RC cars. Christmas is coming up. Let me tell you, if you got a teenager at home who's into this kind of stuff, this is the place you need to go. Go head over to Tom and Gigs. If you need if you got some last Christmas shopping that you need to get done, and you got someone who would love to have one of these cars, Tom and Gigs is the place to go. And look at all the accessories. So you see this car right there. This car doesn't look that big, but look behind that car. All of those accessories are hanging off the walls and the ceilings over there at Tom and Gigs. Very cool store. And that car doesn't look very big, but then you put it into the hands of a full-grown man, and hey, look, that's a pretty big-ass car, and your kids would love it. It's not like the remote control cars we used to get for Christmas back in the 80s. You know, those little bitty things that, you know, last 30 minutes and the battery would wear out. No. These are nice equipment. So nice toys, fun stuff to play with. They've got planes, they've got hero copters, they've got tannerite. Yes, they've got tannerite, but do remember, you must be 18 years of age or older to purchase tannerite, and you will be asked to show an ID. Yep, they will ask you to do that. Herbal choices for all your herbal needs. They're the place that I go, the dispensary of my choice. You can find out more at the herbalchoices.com store. And once again, I don't think anyone should be smoking weed that doesn't want to smoke weed, but I think if you do choose to partake in this activity, please do it with responsibility. And remember, it is a drug. Keep it out of the hands of children. Don't drive on pot, and don't be using heavy equipment. And for God's sake, don't go hunting and shooting if you are smoking pot. All of those things are off limits if you're choosing to go and imbibe in the herbal choices. And if you need some of those herbal choices, go to Herbal Choices, the cannabis dispensary, and find out more. And you can find out more at their website, the herbalchoices.com website. And remember, you must be 21 years or older to be there. And they've got 5 locations, one in Charleston, one in Coos Bay, one in Bandon, one in Reedsport, and one in North Bends. And remember, abstinence. That's right. If you've got a vice, no matter what that vice is, I've got the cure for you. Yeah, it's very simple. Abstinence. Whatever your vice is, whatever your problem is, just abstain from doing it. I know that's really hard. Just stop. Just say, no, I don't want to pick up the crack pipe today and spend my family's fortune on crack. No, I don't want to do that today. No, I don't want to pick up the fentanyl syringe and shoot it into my arm. Nope. No, I don't want to go to casino and gamble away my children's inheritance. I'm going to abstain, and I'm going to take me some abstinence. So I always recommend a little abstinence. Yeah, we're going to add to that list. I got some new products coming out. And so abstinence is just one of them. I recommend it. I've got it in bottle form. Just call me up and I'll send it to you. Abstinence. It's really easy. Very easy stuff to take. Doesn't cause any side effects other than you might have more money in your pocket and feel better. It's a crazy, wild thing. Oregon Firearms Federation, the only no compromise gun group in the state. Kevin Sterrett. I need to talk with Kevin. He's probably out of town in the holiday season. He spends it with his family. So we'll see if he's around. Maybe we can get him on the show to talk about some of the latest battles that he's been dealing with. But OregonFirearms.org, check it out. Please sign up for their newsletter. Really good stuff there. Of course, Bandon Gun Club, they're not my sponsors, but I like to recommend them because they're a good group of people. BandonGunClub.org or Taiga Sports Park at the Taiga Sports Park Association. You can find out more at TaigaSportsPark.org. If you want to go and shooting, sight in your rifle, they got a 100-yard rifle range. Really good stuff out there. Coos County Neighborhood Watch. We are on Porch Pirate Alert. That's right, folks. Porch Pirate Alert. If you see a porch pirate and you're a member of the Coos County Neighborhood Watch, please report it immediately. If you see suspicious activity in your neighborhood, please report it, because we got people out there on the streets right now, on the street somewhere where you live, and I don't even know where you live, but there are people out there in your area, and they're looking for those porch pirates. They are, we've got a guy named Samuel Adams. I don't know. I think he's caught like a half a dozen porch pirates. So I want to see if someone can take on Sam's record. That would be really cool. So you guys, this is a competition now. How many porch pirates can you catch during the Christmas season or any time of the year? That's what's great about Coos County Neighborhood Watch. You can go on there any time of year, become a member, and find out about all the nonsense that's going on in your neighborhood. A lot of nonsense. I had a guy, I don't know what he was doing at the end of my street. He was digging through the trash, but he had a bucket of stuff, and it was just weird looking whatever he was getting out of the trash, and he was putting it into this white 5-gallon bucket. But his truck was parked at the end of my street across from the grocery store. So of course I walk down there, and he sees me walking down there, and he jumps into his truck, puts the bucket in the back, and then jumps in the truck, starts it up, turns it around, and just comes about, I would say, about that close to running my ass over. And of course, I was hoping he was going to try to hit me because, I would have done one of them Evel Knievel things, jumped in the back of the truck, kicked in the back window, grabbed him by the neck, ripped him out. Yeah, we would have done the old action movie scene. But lucky for him, he didn't hit me. And I've got it on video, but that's what we're dealing with. So, don't be a cuck. Take back your neighborhood. And it doesn't mean you have to be a badass. Watch your neighborhood. Heck, sometimes if you just walk to the end of your driveway and look down both ends of your street, sometimes that's just enough to see something going on, and all you have to do is call the cops. All you have to do is report, observe and report. That's it. Observe and report. And if you want to do more, I'll let you decide that for yourself. But you can find out what's going on in that situation at Coos County Neighborhood Watch. And there's a lot of people out there who deal with the street criminals, the street thugs out there. They deal with them, and they could help you out with dealing with them. This is a good place to go. If you got squatters, let them know on Coos County Neighborhood Watch. There are guys out there who will squat on the squatters. That's right. There are guys out there who, if you got squatters on their house, guess what? You can lease that house to another group of people who'll come and squat on the squatters. Totally legal. And then you get something going on there. Yeah. And I know people who've done that. Samuel Adams has done that as well. And of course, the Coos County Citizen Watch. This is Chris Castleman's group, and he's going to have more about this on Wednesday. He has a video on Wednesday, and of course, he won't be able to do it this week because why? Well, the meeting's happening to elect all the PCPs. They did that on purpose. They just don't like Chris. What can I tell you? So, yeah, very sad stuff. Very, very petty people that we've got here in this county. And I want to thank all of you joining me. I hope you like my Christmas decorations. I'm in the mood. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Hey, we should go Christmas caroling. Maybe we should do that. Maybe, yeah, that would be cool. We got a headquarters. Maybe we should meet over at the headquarters and go back into that neighborhood behind the headquarters and do some Christmas caroling and torture the people with our singing. Yeah, they will pay us to leave. Maybe we could make money that way. We'll go Christmas caroling, and after they hear us sing, they will go, we will give you money just to shut up and go to the next house. Please, for God's sake, don't be singing. And so, I don't know. Just a thought. I'm throwing it out there. I want to thank all of you for joining me. And before I get out of here, I do want to remind you of one thing, because I said I would do it because it was very important to Chris. He's a big fan of this young lady. Whoops. There we go. Danielle Bethel. Danielle Bethel. She will be here tomorrow, it'll be December 16th. She will be here tomorrow, Tuesday, 4:30 to 5:30 at Nobi Tap House and Food Truck. So definitely check that out. This should be a real good thing. I'm going to be there, I think I'm going to be there. And several of your favorite characters from around the county will be there checking out what Danielle Bethel has to say. And look, her sign goes with my little Christmas background. You like that? Yeah, we like that. Good job, Danielle. Good color picture there. That's it goes quite well with my background. I love it. But she's a really great lady. I like Danielle, and I hope if we can get someone out of the primary, it's her. But I'm not making any endorsements because this horse race hasn't even started yet. Campaign season doesn't start until the beginning of the new year. And then, folks, It's every man for themselves. What can I tell you? Let me remove that to get me back on here. Let's see. Get a little music going. Oh, look. More Christmas decorations. Yes, more Christmas decorations. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. I put up Christmas lights on my house. I haven't done that in a while, but yeah, I actually did that. I put Christmas lights on my house. Let me get my music going. Not quite Christmas music. And I'll see you guys next week. We're going to have the Friday night rant. I'm not sure what we're going to do for the Friday night rant. I'm going to try to get Kevin on next week for the Rob Taylor report. I don't know what we'll be doing, but I'm sure there'll be plenty of news to talk about. And I hope you all join me. And thank you for joining me today. And I'll see you next time. And until next time, carry on, Coos County. Carry on.